Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are back here at the North Line Raceway, of course, known to most of you as Jimmy's Slot Car Racetrack, and we're going to take a look at some of those fine details he's got on the track here, and we're going to learn a little bit about how he does it. So, without further ado, let's just take a walk around the track and see what we got.
Thanks, Ryan. People have been commenting on odd things, you know,
Yeah.
and I thought we'd walk around and talk about them.
Yeah.
The fencing that I did, we call it snow fencing here in Michigan.
It's
wicker fencing,
Yeah,
woven fencing.
wicker or woven in other areas.
Can you do a close up of that, Derek?
Are we right up to it?
Yeah, those are two places that I used them, and then I'm going to show you how I put that together a little bit further in the video, okay?
Perfect.
But we're over here because I wanted to show you the trash cans I used. I made these trash cans are nothing more than copper nit connectors that are used for copper plumbing. You see that guy's hollow? And what I did is I painted them. First I painted in black, of course, and then I painted it, and then I filled it with plaster, different levels of plaster. And here you can see the white plaster on the bottom on top of wax paper. And the remarks were, how did I get garbage into the garbage cans? But what I had done is I took wax paper and I smeared some plaster on it. And 5 or 6 different splotches of plaster, and I squished it as thin as I could between 2 pieces of wax paper. When it dried, I painted them yellow and different colors, blue and black and brown and red, and then I crushed it with a hammer, and that's how I made the garbage. So this whole thing right here is my garbage. I glued them in, and I used Elmer's glue and water.
Wow.
And I was able to get garbage in my cans. There were questions about the flags. You know, not just how I make them flex, but how we make the flags themselves. I start with material that I got from the hardware. And this soft, silky stuff is actually used in the construction scene where they have to make barriers so people don't fall off roofs and stuff. But it's just the right texture and right size. Can you get a, let's see, it's called Size Right APWA Pack. Is that the title? I think it is. But that's what I use for flag, guys. And it sags just enough. So I cut a bunch of them ahead of time. Now these flags were for flagmen. I'm gonna ask you to back up a little bit. I'm gonna show you this flag. See this flagman holding the flag?
Yes.
Okay, and see the flag. I'm gonna take that right out of there for him. He can just wait. And that's how I made flags, with this little steel rod, and I made this out of wood, and I made all those flags. I've made over 300 flags to give my guys the flags they need for marshalling.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I keep a ready supply, but that's what I made them out of, guys. I made them out of this stuff right here.
Looks like EVC Size Right APWA Pack.
Yeah.
So.
And it flexes really nice, as you can see here. I'm going to show you the flag itself. This flag is nothing more than a fine wire rod. You see, that gets tied down here with some nursery green wire and a little bit of epoxy, and it goes up to the top. But the magic here is that this flexes. And what I use for that, and we touched on it in one video, but apparently it wasn't enough for people to understand.
Right. Yeah.
So what this is this goes around the tail shaft of a transmission, and it's a rubber seal. The yoke goes through here and spins, and that rubber seal keeps oil from leaking out the tail shaft of the transmission onto the ground. And you can get these at auto stores. I'm going to show you, there's a little seam there, and if I twist it just right, it pops open. Is that awesome or what?
That is awesome.
For our purposes, I use this everywhere for all kinds of different reasons. I'm going to put it down here. Whoa, Nelly! I brought this white so that in case you needed to get a backdrop for this, but apparently not. You can get a good shot of it, Derek?
Yeah, if you guys can check out his model.
And I made a little gauge here. You see that gauge?
Yes.
And I put it on top of the ribbon, and then hold it down, and with an X-Acto knife, I cut and I cut and I cut, and I get the perfect little flag, and glued onto a steel rod. It could be a flagman's corner flag, or it can be one of our flags here. Notice I put a wave in it, Derek. You can see that. Ryan, you can't see that, but I put a wave in it.
Yes.
So that it's already moving with the wind there.
Yeah, has that move with the wind appearance.
And I put a little drop of glue in it, and I can make it stay that way. Now for the American flag, my son was asking me about that, and that is what happened to the box? I got a box of these flags. Well, for the American flag, I took 2 American flags that were tied to a toothpick. For the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I sandwiched a piece of aluminum foil between them. And then when the glue dried, I was able to squish it to make it look like a folding flag. And it stayed there because of the aluminum foil.
Right.
And I want to talk to you, too, about this stretchy material that I use instead of string. Watch this. Come up to the top here, Derek. See, I can pull that off for repair, and I can pull that out. This is material that they use for making bracelets for girls at bead shops. See, it stretches?
Yes.
So I don't have to hit a home run every time when I tie my knots. In this case, it goes onto the top, and it stays stretched out. See, it looks like a scale rope.
Wow.
And I use that everywhere, like right here.
Yeah.
Further down, I'm going to show you the exact material.
Very nice.
We're going to talk about coffee stirrers, wooden coffee stirrers.
Yes, yes.
This whole thing is made out of wooden coffee stirrers all the way down.
Wow.
I made a little sketch of what it should look like, and one of the best Christmas gifts I ever got, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, under the tree were 2 boxes of wooden stirring sticks. You know how hard it is to find these anymore?
Is it?
Everything's made out of plastic. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, so when Pam found these for me on the internet about 8 or 9 years ago, I was thrilled. Because, I base everything on that, you see?
There's
Beautiful.
That's what that's all about.
that's scale
And then
planks,
I paint them black.
Yeah.
Well, we can do a video on this. I paint them
Yeah.
black, and it picks up the grain, and then I mist them with a gray.
Right.
Because wood actually in the sunlight turns that gray and it gets bleached.
Yes.
And then I glue it together, and
And away we go.
away we go.
It's amazing. Again,
My collection of coffee stirrers.
So everybody take note.
You can buy those online if you're looking to do something.
Oh, I
nice
hope
with
so.
them. I hope so.
Those are almost 10 years old.
I'm sure you can still find them at some specialty supply.
I was talking to you about the flexible cord.
Yes.
This is it right here, guys. There's 2 makes. This one was only I'm going to put it down here so you can see it. These come from bead shops. And there's two thicknesses. This is 0.8 millimeter, and I believe this is thinner, 0.5 millimeter.
Yes.
This guy right here, can you get that on camera?
Yeah.
You see, that's how I make my fencing, and I stretch it across. If I use string, Ryan, and I tried to get it that tight all the way across, these posts would begin to bend.
Yes. They
And
would.
get out of shape.
No dice.
And of course, this is all based off of a pre-sketched drawing.
Oh
too.
yeah.
All of it is.
Yeah, right.
But so that's amazing. These elastic strings basically prevent it from looking all wonky. Where if it was with a regular
right.
string,
It looks to scale. You don't see a lot of sagging ropes, guide wires. I'm going to talk to you about these posts, and I'm going to talk to you about there were questions about how I make the handrails. I make those out of steel coat hangers. I'm going to show you a little further down.
right. Let's keep moving.
Here is telephone poles. These are actually dowels. These are nothing more than 5/16 wooden dowels. And I got one right here to show you in my hand. You see, I tapered it. And I did nothing more than if you look down it, you can see that it's tapered.
So how'd you end up tapering it? Which materials did you use?
I took my sander, and first I laid a sheet of sandpaper down on a block of wood and glued it. And then I ran back and forth and with the weight on the pointed side, and I kept turning it and rolling it and turning it and rolling it, and I got a taper.
There you go. Yeah.
Because they're made out of pine trees, of course, and the fir, pine, and trees are tapered. And then I added little knots with a marker, and I started by painting this black, of course, and let the black soak in and dry. You can see the grain. You see the grain in the wood?
Yes.
The 3X Rust-Oleum. The nutmeg just sits on the top and the grain shows. And that's how I make these. Now note that under here, it's tied to a magnet. See, so if the kids or somebody, including me, when I'm cleaning the track, I knock it over. The lights still stay on. The lights go down to a terminal post down below. And I've got a steel nut screwed to this post.
Yes.
And it's tied on there with a magnet.
Kid proof, as we mentioned before.
And note that here it goes. Note that the conduit coming down is plastic drinking straw, not drinking straw, but coffee stirrer.
Ah, yeah.
To hide the wiring. And then it gives me an ability to come up to each light.
Another great use for coffee stirrers, right?
Right. Plastic coffee stirrers. Of course, I painted them gray first.
Of course, yeah.
In my scrap bin, before I show you my scrap pieces, why I collect broken Lego and stuff, these pieces are all made from scratch. This is supposed to be a generator going up here. What it does is hides the big hole I have underneath here for the wiring to come through. This is an Elmer's glue cap. You recognize this, Ryan? That's a key. That's a key to a keyboard.
Keyboard.
So I'm going to show you why I keep a junk drawer of all kinds of little scratch pieces. And I enjoy finding stuff like that and thinking, I can use that someday.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, this is another steel handrail. And further down, I'm going to show you how I make those. We could do a video on how to make them.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. This was a picture that I took back in 2002. And that's how I got the reference for this kind of thing, where I put fire hydrants down and the protective posts. Those bumper posts are made out of plastic straws filled with plaster.
Take a look at it.
And what I do, Ryan, is I fill the end with glue, and I stick a nail in it so that I can drill a hole in the track and put it down. So that's how that was made, and this was just a reference. You recognize that door?
Yes, I do.
Recognize that door?
Yeah.
That's what I used as my model for
that door
creating
right
the doorways down there.
Huh.
Happened to be in the mirror of my Miata.
So there we go. There's the finished product.
Yeah, now that's made out of, that's printed on a metallic-looking paper that they use for wedding invitations at I can't remember the name of
the Hallmark store.
No, not Hallmark, but it's a place you go get prints and go get paper.
Oh, Xerox and things like that.
Staples.
Staples.
It wouldn't come to me. Staples.
That's
well, they do wedding invitations, and it's a silver metallic kind of a paper. So I drew out those doors to scale.
Yeah.
And then I asked them to print it on it, and I cut it out. And then I take a CD cover.
Yeah.
I cut the cover, and that's what is the glass behind it.
Yes, that's the glass.
Gives it rigidity, and then I put it in.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, beautiful.
So once again, those dowels, those are straw.
Yeah, those are straw with plaster stuff in. See, it sounds ridiculous, but I'll take a whole day and I'll make a lifetime supply of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as far as the hydrants go, these hydrants, I get them for Christmas Snow Village scenes. That's where these came from. You can get them at Michael's, but they look clunky. See how clunky they look?
Yes.
Yeah.
I clean them up and I get the flash off of them. This ugly part is buried under plaster under there, and I put them to good use. And you know, for half price sales, they were only a couple of bucks each.
After Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, this place, a lot of the details can be gotten from Micromark. I got a catalog here I want to show you. Micromark, Small Tool Specialist. Here's their version of it. It's a little bit out of scale for O scale. A pack of 10 is $18.95. So I got 10 for 10 bucks. No, actually they came 3 in a pack for $1.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did pretty good, eh?
You did pretty good. So
no wonder I only spent $300 on this track.
right, exactly. It's becoming more and more clear as we go through. So to get the flash off those fire hydrants.
Oh, they're made out of metal. I had to file them.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had to file them. Yeah, they're made out of like a cast metal,
So-
pot metal.
So you file them down, and do you repaint
Primer.
them?
Oh yeah, primer, paint them. Here's the finished product. Let's do a before and after, shall we?
I can see the little bit of detail.
You
work
can
as
see.
well.
Let me turn it the same way just to be fair. You can see the difference, the before and after. And on some of them, I've taken a chain and brought a chain around.
Ah,
Yeah,
wow.
I didn't on that one.
So you file them down, you hit them with the primer, and you do your detail work, and then it comes out with that beautiful.
Correct.
product.
And then I weather it with a mixture of wet black paint, and that's what shows the details. Do you see how it looks dirty inside there?
Yes.
That's from the 50% water, 50% black paint.
That same.
It weathers it.
Yeah, it weathers
makes
the
it look
stone.
dirty. Just like we did on the stone.
Yeah, just like the stone. Yeah.
This also was made out of wooden coffee stirrers. He said proudly.
Those coffee stirrers really come in handy. I can see.
These are made by the same company that makes the fire hydrants. Whoops. These are lights for a snow village. They actually had a plastic, funky looking stanchion, and I made this stanchion to make it look a little bit more modern.
Remarkable. And yeah, may I just add on for the boards? I mean, just looking at it, I never would have guessed those are coffee stirrers, just with the way that you painted them and dressed them.
Yeah, the graining happened automatically. I mean, it was just dumb luck after experimenting a lot. Flat black paint allowed to dry with a mist of the gray. All done with the Rust-Oleum 3X. And it leaves a grain. You see that?
Leaves that beautiful grain.
And of course, then I weathered it as if the guys had made a path there too, a little bit with chalk.
Yeah, a little bit of detail with that chalk work. We've shown that, I believe, on one of our other tutorials.
Correct.
Wow.
I wanted to talk to you about the fun I have is I see something in the scrap bin or in the garbage, and there's a lot of them, and I think, where can I use that on the racetrack repetitively? I want to show you this. These guys right here, these are, I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're inside of a power steering pump, and they're vanes that spin around. And I found them in the scrap bin. I think I have some here to show you. These are actually vanes that work inside of a power steering pump. That was in the scrap bin at work. Honestly, guys, these got to be 30 or 35 years ago. I saw these and I thought I could apply them. They look like pilings that are hammered in to stop the ground from washing down. See the change of elevation here?
Yes.
So what I did is I painted some white and I painted some black, and I glued them in there. In fact,
we got some
these
water here,
pilings on this side, can you get a picture of that or no?
Yep.
Got all this junk in the way. These pilings on this side, this is all I got left over. I had about 100 of them out of the scrap bin. These are paws to an automatic transmission, and they were cracking, and cars were going out of park about 25, 30 years ago, and they had to be sent to the dealership, and once they were looked at by engineers, then they were thrown into the scrap bin. And one day I found hundreds of them, and that's what make up this wall right here.
Beautiful.
Every one. It's got a 90-degree angle to it, and I could see that I could glue it down, and then I use it as a retaining wall. And I get a lot of nice remarks about that, a lot of comments. Notice we had a car hit it here. That's rusty.
Great detail. Let's move on.
This is another thing that I found. Again, I'm trying to show you that you don't have to go to the store and buy stuff. You know, if you love the hobby, you know, and you're seeing something that you can apply to the track,
Right.
It's kind of fun. This was a basket that was used to wash ink pen tips.
Ah,
Yeah, can you see where I applied it?
look at that.
Yeah, take a look at the.
Yeah, it's a sewer grate. It's
Yeah.
right there.
And then I surrounded it with some balsa wood, and I set it in there.
Now, what did you use to paint it?
I took flat black, of course, painted it flat black, and then I made a gray wash.
Yeah.
But somebody has scratched it. You can see the shiny plastic, so I got to
Yeah.
go back and touch that up.
So you of course, classic flat black, and then the gray wash, and then that comes out that nice sort of deep.
Yeah, and makes
Metallic.
it makes it look more realistic.
Yeah.
Someone had asked me about sewers, and I think I wanted to show you. Can you guys come over here a minute?
Yeah.
You know, speaking of sewers, that's a square sewer. These sewers were made using more things that I got from the scrapbook store, or bead store, actually. So apparently what happens here is girls use these, they tie beads to them, and they make pendants and things like that.
Right.
Mhm.
Can you see that there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can
And
see
what I did to make these sewers is I took a standard washer and I epoxied this over it to give it some depth and some surface around the edges, and I made those. And then I take a piece of cardboard like this, and I do the faux cement effect. You recognize that, where it's black and it's got splotches
Yep.
of the two colors. And I made a concrete square, and that's repeated around. And then I painted it with a metallic bronze to kind of make it look metallic. So it's called Metal Findings, Blue Moon beads, and there's different kinds of these that you can buy right at the bead shop. See, looks like a sewer. What I did was this wicker fencing that these people are behind. That started life as a dollar store placemat.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can see the veining in it and how it's sewn. What I did is I rolled it up. I rolled up the mat. And I have in my hand here what looks like a hay bale, but it's actually that placemat rolled up and then sawed the right height.
Mm.
And it ends up coming out like this.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Can you get that in the picture or no?
Yeah, we can see
Yeah.
that.
And I'm going to turn it over, and you can see it's nothing but these. They're not toothpicks. What are these used for? These are used for putting olives through in martinis
Oh, yeah.
at the
yeah.
grocery store.
Yep.
And then I soaked them in some stain and glued them on the back.
A placemat.
Yeah, it's a placemat you get at the dollar store for like $1.
I've seen those around. Those
Yeah.
basically those bamboo looking.
Yes,
placemats,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Great
And that's
use.
what makes this. Yeah, so I make enough so that I can finish the whole track if I need to. That's what this box is about right here.
Take a look at it.
And I have fun doing that, you know. I've got all the what do you call those? Skewers.
Olive skewers, I suppose.
Olive skewers,
Yeah.
all stained and ready to go.
That's awesome.
You know, there's so much more left to do.
Yeah.
To show. If anybody has any questions about what we talked about, maybe have them comment, and then we come back and finish all the other details.
Yeah. You know, we got to come back and go through the rest of these details here. But if there's anything that we showed you today that you'd like to see more of, particularly, then leave a comment below. We'll make a very in-depth, full-length, step-by-step tutorial. Hopefully, though, for those of you who just want a little bit more detail, the video that we just shot here today is going to provide some answers to those questions that you had. But anyway, yeah, we're going to have to come back another day, get the rest of this stuff, because there's a
We can
ton.
finish another day. No problem.
There's
no
a ton.
problem.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. We're going to be back here again, going through more details momentarily, I suppose. And Signing off. See you guys next time.